Hi, let's talk about those healthy whole grains that your dietitian or doctor might have told you to eat. Not a good idea, okay? So type 2 diabetes is a condition which is characterized by an inability to use and handle carbohydrates. Whenever you eat them, your blood sugars will go up to toxic levels, and for some people, it stays up there permanently without medications. So there is no other disease where we are unable to metabolize a specific nutrient where we are being told that we should eat this nutrient in moderation. There is no other such disease. Take PKU, for example, which is phenylketonuria, which is a genetic hereditary disease. Every newborn baby will at birth get a heel prick. They will take the blood from every newborn baby to check if they have this disorder. Because what that means is that you cannot break down the amino acid phenylalanine. So if you have this disease, you need to eat a diet that doesn't have a lot of phenylalanine in it. Otherwise you will get sick. So if we compare this with diabetes, where you cannot eat carbohydrates without getting sick, why do we then recommend diabetics to eat carbohydrates? There's no difference between type 2 diabetes, where you cannot metabolize carbohydrates, and PKU, where you cannot metabolize phenylalanine. They're both metabolic disorders where you need to avoid the thing that you cannot metabolize. So if you want to reverse your diabetes, you need to avoid the carbohydrates as much as possible, lower your intake as much as you can for a prolonged period of time. I'm not saying that you can never ever have carbohydrates again, but the quicker you want to heal from this disease or condition, the more you need to remove the carbs. If you do this for, I don't know, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, will you be able to eat carbohydrates like any other normal person? Maybe. But that doesn't mean that it's a healthy diet even for a normal person. It's still not good for them either. So what you want to do is, if it was me anyway, I would remove those carbohydrates so that I could get healthy again. Because there is no other way of doing it. This is the very thing that you cannot metabolize, that your body is telling you, this is toxic to us, we need to get rid of it, and then they tell you to eat it in moderation, which is completely wrong. It's completely inappropriate for a type 2 diabetic to eat that amount of carbohydrates. So healthy whole grains are not healthy, and especially not if you have diabetes. They have a double toxic effect on diabetics, literally. So take an example, for example, 1 cup of rice has 45 grams of carbs. That is 9 times as much as your blood should contain at any one time. Just kind of think about that for a second. Yet I frequently hear about diabetics who have been recommended to limit their carbs to roughly 45 to 50 grams of carbs per meal, because that is considered a moderate amount of carbohydrates. There's nothing moderate about that. That is sky high, especially for someone who cannot metabolize carbohydrates. It's way too much, okay? So if you're a diabetic, you cannot handle these sugar loads when they come into your system. It's just not going to work. And that's why so many diabetics are going to be put on medications, because we're telling them to eat an inappropriate amount of carbohydrates that they cannot handle, rather than telling them to not eat carbohydrates, and then they won't need the medications, and they might even reverse the diabetes if they do that for a period of time, and we don't have a problem anymore. 2 slices of bread, whole wheat bread, or 1 banana, either or, contain 30 grams of carbs. That's 6 times as much as your blood should contain. The healthy bananas and the whole grain bread, whole wheat, still way too much. Don't do it. It's not worth it. So the recommendation that you should eat healthy whole grains when you're diabetic does not make any sense whatsoever. And if it was up to me, I would change all the diabetic guidelines and get everyone, at least everyone who's willing to and who wants to eat that diet and who wants to reverse the diabetes, on a low carb diet. In fact, I would say that recommending healthy whole grains is a very dangerous advice, and the reason that so many people with diabetes are getting worse, and it's also making us believe that type 2 diabetes is a chronic and progressive disease, as they say it is, because it will be if you're eating that many carbs, if you're eating whole grains and you think that is healthy for you. So you will make the healthier choices of eating whole grain bread rather than white bread. They contain just as many carbohydrates, and it's the carbohydrates that you cannot metabolize. Okay? So it's because diabetics are being told that they can eat carbs in moderation that we have this problem. And as you might have figured out, this is completely false and is misinformation, and it's not something that I would ever recommend. So for your own sake, please get educated, look at evidence and decide what makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, just question why you have been told to do this. I'm not going to go into the politics of that. There are reasons why you're being told to do that. And the reason is not because they have your health your best health in your health at their interest. I can't even speak. They don't care about that. Further up the chain, individuals might care about that, but they might be misinformed as well. Okay? So if you want to question my opinion, I do welcome you to do so. That's fine. Just leave a comment down below your video and I will respond to you. But if you want to learn more about how to reverse your diabetes, make sure that you join our Facebook group, which is a growing community of type 2 diabetics only. So if you have type 2 diabetes, you're more than welcome to join. Also subscribe to the video, give it a thumbs up and say hi in the comments. See you soon.